especially during this season of like crisis, the whole COVID-19, when people can't even go out, how important it is for people to understand these principles.
I think now, you think about it, it's like you look at all these businesses, right? And I'm thinking about brick and mortar businesses, but it's true online as well. But you have a brick and mortar, like a restaurant or a, whatever. And, before they'd have their business there and people would come by and they'd walk in and they'd jump in. This is traffic, right? People would drive by like, oh, I'm hungry. They'd come in. So they get traffic organically. But as soon as like President Trump was like, nobody can leave their house anymore. So no one leaves, and all of a sudden the traffic goes away and all these companies now die. They disappear, right? If you understand that, it's like traffic it's the lifeblood of your company. It's what keeps you alive. It's like the most important thing you can have. So if you have a business, now is the time, especially because so many people are scared. A lot of people aren't buying ads anymore. So ad costs have dropped down because no one's buying, people aren't buying ads. So ad costs got cheaper. So it's like, now is the time to grab customers, because customers are like your life preserver in your company. The person in a company who can get customers in the front door is the most valuable person in the company. So if you can learn these skill sets and you're trying to figure out what your next move is, like you can go to any business, any company and say, hey, I know how to get customers in the door and I just want equity in your company. And companies are like, okay, here you go.
You've probably heard that your story is your brand. So how can ordinary entrepreneurs and salespeople like you and me tell our stories in a way that cuts through all the noises in this overcrowded social media world and reach the audience that we want? Join me as I break down storytelling secrets that have helped me achieve over 8 figures in revenue, as well as interviewing some of Asia's most prominent names and rising stars to uncover their stories. I hope this show will inspire you to be more vulnerable and share your story to the world, because your mess is your message. My name is Gabriel Wong, and welcome to the Story Impact Show.
All right, what's up, everybody? I think we are live right now with Russell Brunson.
Hey, everybody.
I'm really, really excited for today's interview. And just for those people who are watching this right now, and if you're coming in, I just want to give a quick short introduction about Russell Brunson. For those of you who do not know him, over the past 15 years, Russell has built a following over a million entrepreneurs, so hundreds of thousands of copies of his books, popularized the concept of sales funnel, and co-founded a software company called ClickFunnels that has helped tens of thousands of entrepreneurs quickly get a message out into the marketplace, and that includes me. Okay, and I just want to share a really, really quick story about how I was exposed to Russell and why am I so excited for you guys to hear from Russell himself. Just about 4 years ago, I was actually in debt. I had no money. My car was towed away, and I had no money to pay rent. All right, and I was starting a couple of businesses. I failed in every one of them because I didn't know how to market my products, and I didn't know how to market my product and services of these different businesses that I was starting. So, I was desperate, and I picked up a book, and this book changed my life. And that book was .com Secrets. That was 4 years ago. And, I was blown away by the content. I started applying many of the principles, started to get results. And then this became an obsession. It became a journey for me. And last year, I finally I took the leap of faith and made the decision to fly to the States for the first time, because it's like 25 hours flight, to attend Funnel Hacking Live, just so I can experience Russell live for the first time, and ended up joining the coaching, which was a 1-year journey. I had to fly 5 times back to the States, more than 200 over hours, just to learn from Russell and his team. And I thank God for Russell, because my business had a massive transformation. It's not just the money. I mean, we got the 2 Comma Club and all, but we made so much impact in Singapore in a way that it was unimaginable just a few years ago. So I thank God for Russell, not just as a role model in business, but a role model in life, because he is one of the most successful people I know, yet one of the most humble human being who prioritizes his family, doesn't flash his wealth. So, I can't say enough. I want to thank you first before I even ask you any question. I want to thank you, Russell, so much for impacting my life and many Singaporeans' life as well. I think your message is reaching across the world, and people are being impacted right now.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for telling me that. And I appreciate it. The biggest gift for me now, which is like watching people who take these concepts and then use them and apply them. And so I appreciate you actually doing something with it. So many people they'll hear it, they'll listen to it, but they don't do anything. And you actually took it and ran with it. And it makes me so happy, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and especially in Asia, right? Because many of this concept that many people have a lot of limiting belief, and we're going to come to that later on, right? Where people will say like, okay, these are concepts that will work maybe in the States, right? It will not work in Asia, right? But I'm trying to show people that it will work here. And I'm trying to show them by actually taking action and showing them true results.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I want to jump right into it because I know your time is short. So my life is basically transformed by your first book, .com Secrets, and then after that, Expert Secrets, and every book. Okay, I remember that after every book, you always say you're not going to write the next book. But eventually, you wrote 3 books, right? You got it done, right? And you announced Traffic Secrets 2 years ago. I think it was 1 or 2 years back, and I was so excited, waited so long for this book. So tell us what happened about Traffic Secrets, and what made you write this book, and why do you write it?
Yeah, it's funny because for anyone who's written a book before, it is not easy. Of all the things I do, it's like the hardest. So when I decided to do .com Secrets book, I didn't know what I was getting into, so I was all excited, and I did. I was like, this is really hard to write a really good book. But it was right after we launched ClickFunnels. So .com Secrets became like this book that taught people the strategy of funnels and how they work and how to think through things a little bit differently. And so that book helped people use ClickFunnels. And then, like you said, I said, I'd never write a book again. But about a year after I launched the .com Secrets book, I started listening in our community. And like a lot of people were like now building funnels, but some people had funnels that like structurally were right, but they weren't making any money and they were canceling their accounts. I was looking, I'm like, what are they doing wrong? Because there's a difference between a funnel and a funnel that makes money. And the biggest thing people had was like, they didn't know how to tell their story, how to communicate their message and move somebody from page to page in a funnel. And so that's why I wrote the second book, was to help people understand that, like persuasion and storytelling and all those kind of things. And then again, I was like, I'll never write a book again. And then what's actually funny is it was day 2 of the Expert Secrets book launch. We're in the middle of the launch, and I got an email from my friend John Reese. And John, for those who don't know, he was the first person in our industry like 15 or 16 years ago. He made $1 million in a day selling a course called Traffic Secrets. And he messaged me, he's like, I'm retiring or whatever. And he's like, do you want to buy the domain Traffic Secrets from me? And I was like, oh no. I was like, that's the 3rd book. Like there has to be like, it's the like funnels, the conversion, the funnels, and traffic. Those are the 3. And I was like, I have to have it. And so I bought it from him. But then like, I've been talking about it for 2.5 years, but I was so scared to write this book because traffic changes all the time. Like the way Facebook works and Google and YouTube, they change all the time. And I was like, I don't want to write a book that by the time I print it and ship it, people read it, they're like, it's not relevant anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like stressed out. Like, how do I write a book about this thing that changes all the time in a way that'll actually be evergreen, that'll be as good today as it is 10 years from now and in 100 years from now. And so it took me over a year to kind of like figure out how to do that. And then the next 18 months to actually write it. It's been a labor of love, but it's finally done, and it's finally here. Yeah. Now I'm never writing a book again.
So we all know that's not going to happen, right? You're going to continue to write, probably. Actually, when you shared about how because traffic change all the time, I think my follow-up question is that one of the reasons why I loved your other 2 books, which is .com Secrets and Expert Secrets, before this new book, is that most of your book are focused on principles, right? So they are evergreen, and it's something that when even if you read it 10 years down the road, it will still make sense. Mm-hmm. So, but when it comes to traffic, because traffic changes all the time, right? And people always link traffic to just like Facebook ads, and there are always more tactics than principles. So how is this book any different? Like, are there more principles based, and what was it difficult to write a principle based traffic book?
Yeah. It was, like I said, it took me a year just to figure out how to do it. And I was like so scared. But yeah, it's funny because most people talk about traffic, there's usually like a course or a book, but it's like, they're always like exploiting, like, here's the loophole and here's how to do this thing that works right now. And then the loophole always goes away and then it doesn't work anymore. And I was like, well, how do we make this so it's evergreen? And I think what I try to do is take a step back and not look at like the tactics of this network or that, or how the ads work here or there, but more like, what's the overarching strategy, and kind of put this in context for people. So I've been doing this now for 17 years, even though I look like I'm 11. And I started like, right now Facebook's the big thing, but before Facebook, it was MySpace. And before MySpace, there was a site called Friendster. And then before that, there was no social networks at all. And like, that's when I got started. So I was trying to figure these things out. And way back then, there weren't people like doing events or talking about internet marketing. And I was like, I want to learn, but there's no one really to learn from. And so I remember I joined this group of like old school direct response marketers, and there's guys like Dan Kennedy and Bill Glazer and all these people from back in the day that, that they're offline marketing guys, but they understood direct response. So I joined this mastermind with them to try to learn from them. And I remember I was the only internet guy in the group. So they'd always tease me. They'd come in, they're like, Russell, this is a letter. We put these in the mailbox and we send them to people, and they tease me. I'm like, I know what a letter is. But I remember one of the guys, I can't remember who it was, but somebody in the group told me, they said, the problem with most of you internet guys is you think that the internet is a business. He's like, it's not a business, but the reason why there's a lot of people that have some success and it drops down is because they think it's a business. And he's like, the internet is it's a media channel, just like TV or radio or newspapers or direct mail or magazines. The internet is a media channel. He said, when you understand that, then all of the rules that are true in every other media channel are also true on the internet. And so that's what I learned way when I got started. So I always looked at traffic a little bit differently. And so you look at like when we launched ClickFunnels, it wasn't just Facebook ads. Like we were doing a whole bunch of stuff differently than anybody else has ever done before, because I look at traffic differently. And so that was kind of the goal of the book, is help people look at things differently, understand things differently, because it's not just here's how to run an ad, here's how to do that targeting. It's like, no, the traffic is just people. It's people like me and you. And if we understand how people work and their psychology, then it becomes really easy to find them online and target them and get your message out in front of them.
Yeah, I like that, because when you focus on like principles and not tactics, right? And what you mentioned in terms of like the medium, in terms of like the principle never change, right? It has always been the same thing, right? It's just that instead of mail, now it's email, right? Instead of radio, now it's podcast. And it's just the medium has changed, but the principle doesn't change, right? Yeah. So how important it is for people to understand the principles in this book, especially during this season of like crisis, the whole COVID-19, when people can't even go out, how important it is for people to understand these principles.
Yeah, I think now, you think about it, it's like you look at all these businesses, right? And I'm thinking about brick and mortar businesses, but it's true online as well. But you have a brick and mortar, like a restaurant or a, whatever. And, before they'd have their business there and people would come by and they'd walk in and they'd jump in. This is traffic, right? People would drive by and like, oh, I'm hungry. They'd come in. So they get traffic organically. But as soon as like, I don't know how it's the same thing where you're at, but here in the States, President Trump was like, nobody can leave their house anymore. So no one leaves, and all of a sudden the traffic goes away and all these companies now die. They disappear, right? And so it's like when you lose traffic, like traffic is the lifeblood of a company. When you lose traffic, the company dies. And so you look at it right now, like everyone is freaking out and they're struggling. And if you understand that, it's like traffic it's the lifeblood of your company. It's what keeps you alive. It's like the most important thing you can have. So if you have a business, now is the time, especially because so many people are scared. A lot of people aren't buying ads anymore. So ad costs have dropped down. And so that Facebook's supposed to lose, I think, $40 billion in the next 2 or 3 months because no one's buying, people aren't buying ads. So ad costs got cheaper. So it's like, now is the time to grab customers, because customers are like your life preserver in your company. So if you have a company, like learning these traffic secrets are the most important thing you could do. Now, if you don't have a company, let's say you had a job and you just lost it, or your company just went under, and now you're trying to figure out what to do with your life, this is the best time as well, because like the person in a company who can get customers in the front door is the most valuable person in the company, right? Like you look at a dental office, like the dentist is cleaning the teeth, that's very valuable. Like you need someone that can do that. But the person who actually brings the customer in, who brings the money in, like that's the most valuable person in the company. And so if you can learn these skill sets and you're trying to figure out what your next move is, like you can go to any business, any company and say, hey, I know how to get customers in the door. Can I have a job? Or I want to be your partner. And people will give you all sorts of stuff. In fact, I have people right now who are literally going to companies and saying, I know how to get customers in right now, and I just want equity in your company. And companies are like, okay, here you go, because I can't get customers in right now. If you can get me customers, I'll give you half my business. And so it's like the most valuable skill you can learn, either if it's for your own business or to go apply to other people's businesses as well.
Yeah, I think as long as you're able to bring traffic to any business, you'll always be in high demand, right?
Yeah. It's like the best skills that you could possibly have.
Yeah. In this book, you shared many secrets, right? More than 20 different secrets. I was actually reading this book, and I think one of my favorite was, I think it's Traffic You Own, right? I think it's one of the most classic, principles, timeless. You shared about a story of like Mark Joyner, asking you to focus on like the list, right? How important it is right now for list building. By the way, just to give you some context, most of the viewers who are watching, they are usually coaches, consultants, trainers, speakers, especially now they can't even go out of the house. How important it is right now for them to focus on list building.
Oh yeah, list building. I mean, think about this. Like, if you don't have like a list, you don't have an audience, then you can't make a presentation. It's people who are like, last year I only spoke at, I think, 2 events last year, my own, and I spoke at Grant Cardone's. He had 35,000 people in the stadium. You walk in, it's like, this huge it was cool. I got to speak, I got to sell, we made money. But as big as amazing as that is, my email list has 2 million people on it. So it's like, there's so many more people, and I can reach them, I can affect them, I can do things. And like, let's say my business dries up, or something changes, or whatever the issue might be, you always have your traffic. In fact, in the last 17 years I've been doing this, my business has grown and crashed like more times than I can count. But it was crazy because even during times like I was crashing, and I would have like a normal person who went through bankruptcy, I had a list of people. So it was like, as it was crashing, I was like, okay, that business didn't work. What's the next thing I can create? I create a new offer, a new product. I sell it to my list, and then we were fine. We were back in business like 2 days later because of that. And so like having your own customer list, it's the most important thing you could possibly do. And the fact, like you said in the story I shared with Mark Joyner, he was my first mentor, and he was just like, he kept telling me, like, you got to build a list. And to put this in context, like back then when I was getting started, again, before all these other things, like the new shiny object that came out at the time was this thing called Google AdSense. And if you put it on a web page and someone clicked on it, Google would pay you. And they were paying out ridiculous money back then. Like I had friends who literally, they'd throw up these garbage sites that were just their software. They'd create these garbage sites, would scrape other people's articles, post a site, get it ranked, and you throw ads on it. And I had friends making $400,000 or $500,000 a month just from garbage sites. And I was like, I want to do that. And Mark was like, no, he's like, that's there, but it's a loophole. It's going to disappear. Like focus on what's focus on building your list. That's the only thing that's going to be here today, tomorrow, forever. Like your list and your relationship with the list is your business. Like that's the most important thing. So I'd be all mad, like, okay, fine, I'll build my list. But I looked at what happened is I started building my list, started growing my company. And then this thing over here, these guys made a bunch of money, they disappeared. And most of them lost everything. And the majority of them never came back. They never made money again. Whereas I had this list and my list kept growing. And even during times of like recessions, I still had my list. During times where I did something stupid, almost went bankrupt, I still had my, like, it always gave me the ability to generate revenue whenever I needed to. And so of all the things, like if you were like, what's the biggest secret in traffic secrets or the whole secret set? Like the biggest secret is like, you need to have your own customer list. That's the most important thing you could possibly do.
Yeah. And it sounds like you were focusing on the long term, right? Rather than just chasing the shiny objects.
Yeah. Which is too bad because the shiny objects are fun sometimes, but I've been in this business now 17 years and there's been so many shiny objects. I remember like we were launching ClickFunnels and I was focusing on funnels right when Amazon did their big thing. And all of a sudden Amazon was so easy and everyone's making so much money. I was like, I could go make so much money at Amazon right now, but I'm like, no, this is my mission. This is where I'm focused at. And
yeah. I think one of the things that I learned from your coaching was the fact that when you shared Mark Joner's story, and that always anchored me somehow, because every time I'm trying to chase after shiny objects, I'll be reminded that Mark told you no, focus on your list, and that was what I was focusing to do. And and then because of that, right now, because of the crisis that's happening whatsoever, our business is actually booming right now because we are now able to build more relationship with the list, okay? Because we already have a list that we have been building for the past 1 year, right? Mm-hmm. So it is so valuable. Just that one secret alone is so valuable. What other secrets? So there's more than 20 secrets. Okay. Other than that, is there anything else that is like your favorite, kind of like your top favorite?
Oh, it's really cool. I'll tell you one. It's actually in the back of the book. I hid it in the back because I want to make sure that only people they say most people only read the first chapter in the book. So I'm like, I'm going to hide the best stuff in the back for those who finish it. But this is actually, it's crazy. We're talking about Mark Joyner. This is another strategy I learned from Mark Joyner. I mean, Mark's brilliant. And he wrote a book called Integration Marketing. And I remember when I read it, it was interesting because he talked about how most people online, they come and let's say they have a partner, right? They find some of the big email lists or whatever, or big Instagram following. They work to set up this deal with the person promotes once, they make a bunch of money and then it goes away, and you make a big pop of cash and it's gone. And it's like, okay, it's cool. But Mark was like, what if instead of you trying to do this promotion, like a one-off promotion, what if you focus on like integration, like integrating into somebody else's business? And some examples he gave is like, let's say somebody has a webinar, right? Someone registers for a webinar and you have all your webinar, the email sequence that goes through when someone's on a webinar, but then at the end of the sequence, what happens? Most people just kind of ends. And he's like, what if you go to these people and say, look, I want to be the last email in your email sequence. So after they've gone through all your webinars, I want to have an email right there that pushes people to my book or pushes people to my software, whatever it is. He's like, if you do that, you're integrating into somebody's sales process, and then you set it up once. Now, every single time that person gets someone to register for the webinar on day 7 or day 10 is promoting you. So you're tied into that person's traffic stream. Or let's say someone's got a funnel, they've got a registration page and a thank you page. What if you got your offer on that thank you page? You set that deal once, and every time they get somebody to opt in, you're getting people coming back into your funnel. And he started talking about that, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is so brilliant. And so when we launched ClickFunnels, that was like one of the game plans. Like, okay, how do we set up integrations into people's businesses so that when their businesses are growing, it makes our business grow as well? And initially we started doing that. We were set up like one deal, another deal, another deal, and eventually, we've got hundreds and hundreds of deals like this happening where I couldn't turn the traffic off. If you do like, Russell, you have to stop all traffic coming to ClickFunnels. I'd be like, I don't know where it is at this point. Like, we've got it on people's thank you pages and follow-up sequences and like all over. I don't even know where it's at anymore, but it's all there. It's all in place, and just keeps bringing people back all the time. In fact, right now, just kind of give you guys, like, if you focus on that strategy alone for 5 years, like 5 years in, we get over 1,000 people a day who create a free ClickFunnels account that aren't tracked to any ad. Like, they're just happening from all these things that we put out there. And so you think about that, it's like, if you consistently are looking for those kind of opportunities and plugging into other people's, their sales flows, then as their businesses grow, yours does as well. And so it's one of those, again, it's not Facebook ads, but man, it's so much more powerful when you understand that. Because now it's like, if they're running Facebook ads, you're getting traffic from every Facebook ad they're running. And how many people can you do that, a deal like that with?
Yeah, that's a really good one. When you spoke about ClickFunnels, which is your company, the software company that that you have built over the past, I think 5 years. Was it 5 years? Yeah. And you would say that you were aiming for $1 billion valuation. I'm not sure whether you can tell me anything about that, but and you did it with you were near, right? You were close. You mentioned,
Yes.
and you mentioned that you were supposed to, probably you have hit it after the Funnel Hacking Live. Do you manage to achieve that?
It's funny. So the goal we were shooting for, and it's like, if you look at like Wall Street or Silicon Valley or whatever, like the way that they judge they call them unicorns, $1 billion company, is you have to have $100 million a year of annual revenue, annual ARR, annual recurring revenue. So ClickFunnels does more than that in like revenue, but in like actually recurring revenue, like subscription revenue, we weren't quite there. And so we were trying to do the thing. It's funny after Funnel Hacking Live, we shifted. Yeah, I think you probably saw, we shifted the coaching program from like one-off sales to building it into the recurring to help increase the recurring. And we got the point. It's crazy because we were like, let's see, because I can't remember exactly the numbers are. It's like 8.9 million a month of recurring revenue, or whatever the number equals 100 million. And we were shy of it of like 250,000. Like, it was like so close. And so we were like about to do this big campaign to bump it over. And then that's when the coronavirus thing hit. And it's funny because we saw, and I'm not sure if your business, other people's, like our higher end, our more expensive stuff, we saw kind of a drop, but our lower end lifted up a lot. And so anyway, so still like right now we're like super close. And anyway, next week we're doing a big campaign to everybody who's had a chance to buy this to get people into ClickFunnels. So I think by next week, I'm hoping by next Friday we'll be there. But I'll let you know next Friday. But we're like, it's like right teetering on the edge of just like, so we're close.
But it's still amazing, right? Because you built this company in 5 years. There's no VC funding, right? And mainly, I would presume mainly a lot has to do with online traffic. And how much of it is credited to the principles that you have taught in this book right now, in this Traffic Secrets book?
Literally 100%. Like, I tell people, like, the weird thing about what we've done at ClickFunnels is we actually just practice what we preach. We build funnels to drive people in profitably, and then we send them through a value ladder. That's all .com secrets. Then we do presentations to get people to buy offers, which is expert secrets. And then we just keep driving more traffic from as many different places as we can, which is traffic secrets. So it literally is a blueprint for how we built ClickFunnels. It's funny because we were having some venture capital person was trying to this is like 3 or 4 years ago, was trying to wanted to invest in ClickFunnels, and we were like, no. And anyway, he took us out to lunch, and it's funny because he could not figure out for the life of me how we built ClickFunnels, how it was growing so fast. I was trying to explain to him, like, we have these funnels. I was showing him the whole thing, and we explained it 3 or 4 times. I remember at the end of it, he was like, if what you're saying is true, that'll change business forever. And I was like, yes, like that's what we're trying to tell people. Like, we practice what we preach. We use funnels to grow our company instead of outside capital. Like, it changes the entire thing. And so it's a little mindset shift. But as soon as you start understanding it, it gives you the ability to do amazing things. And so ClickFunnels has just been an example of us applying all the stuff we're talking about. And hopefully people see it and they're like, oh, I see how I can model that for my business over here or my business over here.
Yeah. One of the biggest, I would say, like the false belief that people have is that when people look at all the stuff going on, and they would say that, okay, maybe this will work for your industry, this will work for software company, it will not work for my industry. You know, what would you say to answer that?
That's what's been so fascinating with the ClickFunnels community, because when I wrote the .com Secrets book, it was based on my experiences, but now it's like we're 5 years in. So I as you know, I rewrote the book, and in there I weaved in all these like other, because it's like, it didn't just work for me, it worked in this company. And if you look at just our list of people that won the 2 Comma Club, like you got behind you right there, or the 2 Comma Club X Award, or these other ones, every single one of them is a case study of this working in a different industry or a different country, right? You're doing it in the country you're at. We've got people doing it in weight loss and dieting and dentistry, and like it's working in so many industries and different markets and different countries. But now it's just like there's so much proof. Like I don't know. Like if people look, it's like every business type you can dream of, people have done it now. And so every time someone tells me, like, oh, it work for my business, I'm like, well, it does. You just have to be creative, and other people figured it out. And so if you just start looking around and look at, I mean, just if you look at the list of 2 Comma Club winners, you see so many, like every market you can dream of is compiled within just that group of people right there.
Yeah. I'm just going to take this with a bit of a different direction, still focusing a bit on traffic. You know, you're obviously super successful. You built one of the, you know, fastest growing company right now. And you know, but you're one of the most humble human being I've ever met. You know, compared to like what's going on in the social media world right now, where people are using flashy stuff to get traffic. Okay, not that I'm against them, you know, but you know, it was a fresh take when I started to see that, you know, you don't do that, right? And you focus a lot on like family values and God, and you know, could you tell us more about like how did that happen? Like what, you know, what drive you to not to focus more on these values rather than just, you know, flashing just to get more traffic?
Yeah, I'd say there's probably 2 things. Number one is, you know, I've been doing this for 17 years now, and I've had twice where I built the company up and it crashed, and built it up and it crashed. And I am super aware at this point in my career or life or whatever, that it's not all about me. Like, I think until you've had a business fail, I think most people think like, oh, I'm Superman, like I can do anything. But now, like, I've had businesses crash, I'm like, man, there's so many things outside of my control, you know, and so many things that have happened are huge blessings, like inspiration from God. They're people I met, they're like the teams we built. Like there's so many things that, and so I think for a big part of it is just like, I realized at this point in my career that it's not me. And so I don't want to like put myself up on this pedestal. So that's number one. Number two is I'm a big believer that like whatever bait you put out into the world is what you attract back. And I get people all the time that come to our community like, how in the world did you attract all these amazing people who are hardworking and who are passionate, who actually have a mission? They're trying to change the world. They're not just, you know, people trying to get rich quick. I was like, it's because that's what I put out there. Like you attract what you put out there, right? The bait you put out is who you attract. And I was like, I can't imagine if you went to some of the events for some of these other guys who are flashing their cars and their Lambos and their planes, and then you go to their events, you're going to be in a room with a whole bunch of people who all they care about is cars, Lambos, and you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like that's not the kind of people I want to be around. And so for me, it's like, I just, you know, I am who I am, and I want to hang out with people who are like me. And so I'm just going to put out who I am and who I believe in. And those people come to me, and if other people aren't attracted to that, that's okay. Like I don't need everybody. You know, I haven't been called to serve the entire world. I've been called to serve a certain group of people. And I feel like the people I've been called will hear my voice, and they'll be attracted to me, and they'll come to me. And if they don't connect with me, like hopefully they'll connect to someone else, and hopefully there's somebody else that they click with better. Like, and all of a sudden, I don't really care if it's me or somebody else. I just hope that they have success. And so, but I want to attract the people I want to hang out with and I want to work with. And so when I start flashing Ferraris and stuff, it means that I want to, you know, like, I don't know, I don't want to hang out with those people. So I'm not going to try to attract them. So I think those are the main reasons. And I've got an amazing wife who keeps me humble, who reminds me that, you know, that who I am. And I've got amazing, you know, just friends and family who keep me humble. And, you know, again, as much fun and as cool as it's been, this journey with ClickFunnels, like I'm fully aware it could disappear tomorrow. I could have the coronavirus could attack the people that host our servers in San Francisco and it's gone, and tomorrow I'm unemployed. Like it could happen. And so I don't think I'm above any of that thing. So I'm just trying to be as humble and as grateful as I can for the experiences I get and the things I've been blessed with. And hopefully if I am that, I'll continue to get blessed. And if not, I got to be okay with that as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Is there a divine purpose? Do you believe in the divine purpose in running your business?
1,000,000%. Yeah. I definitely believe, and I tell people this a lot, and I think some people get it, some people don't, but it's like, when I got into business, there's like this pull, this like tug. And I think people have felt that before. And I really feel like if you've been pulled in this, you feel this, like, I call it a calling. It could be just like, oh, I want to do this thing, like whatever, like that pull. Like, I feel like it's a calling from God. And it's like, look, you've been called to help this group of people and to serve them. And so when I hear that calling, it's like, hey, my job is to gather these people and then listen, like, how can I help them? What can I do? Like, what else can I do? Like, and like, for me, it's just like, these books have come from like, how can I help this group of people that I've been called to serve? The software's come from how do we help this group of people who've been called to serve? Like the live events, like all the stuff we're doing is just trying to figure out, like, all right, this is my stewardship. These are the people. How do I serve them, and trying to figure that out. And so I definitely think that is. And I think that in every business, that's what it is, like if you're listening to this right now, my guess is like, you felt some kind of pull. That's why you're interested in entrepreneurship and business, because not everybody is, but if you've been called, like, it's like, okay, you're feeling these ways. And initially, I think most people start business out of kind of selfish purposes. I think that's okay. Like, I need to make money, and you get that because that's like the initial drive to get you to get off your butt and go do the thing. But then really quickly, all of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh, like these people I'm serving, this is more important. And then you shift your mindset to that, like it becomes way more fulfilling long-term as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you focus a lot on the audience rather than yourself. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Cause it's interesting too. Cause like, even from like a conversion standpoint, like it's funny, like I think when we first like try to do a webinar or sell something, it's like how to do blank. And that's kind of the first tier. And the second tier is then like, oh, let me show you how I did the thing, right? So like the first is like how to do a thing, and that's like a good, and it'll convert okay. And next is like how I did this thing, which is like, oh, that's even cooler. Like now there's like proof that it actually works. But then the third tier, which is like the best, is like, let me show you how these other people that I taught, how they did it. Like showing off other people's success. First off, it feels less slimy to me. Second off, it converts way better, which is a great benefit. Number three is it puts them on a pedestal, and then they help more people. And I don't know. It's weird how by doing the right thing, it actually ends up making you more money at the end as well, which is like a pretty cool blessing.
Yeah. And it creates a ripple effect, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So we have, our time is running out, and I just have one last quick question for you before I end it. What do you miss most right now in this whole lockdown and everything that's going on? What is the first thing you will do when things go back to normal?
Oh, it's funny because I'm introverted. So like I always like me myself, but it's weird. Even as like someone who's introvert, like I go to the grocery store now and like you walk down the aisles and like nobody will look at you and everyone's like, it's just awkward. And like, I don't know. I just miss people being friendly. I miss like having to like steer away from people when you walk past them and like we all have like some weird disease or something. And I don't know. I miss like just sitting down and having friends come over to talk, or just, I don't know, the little small things, like the human interaction, those little things that like are weird. There are things I do like I've had more ability to talk to people like you, FaceTime with our community and people, like I really enjoyed that. Even like my staff, I feel like I know my staff better because we were always in the same office, but I'm in a different room, and now we're on Zoom all the time, and I see them, like, so I feel more connected to people that way. But man, I miss just sitting down and having lunch with someone, or just, again, just, I don't know, going over to someone's house and watching TV with them. Like I just miss those little things like that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Russell, for spending time with us. I really, really appreciate it. I had fun. I had fun.
No worries, man. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you getting up early. And anyone who's watching right now, thanks for waking up so early to fit into my schedule. I really appreciate that as well.
Yeah, we literally have like 20 people right now, at least live. There'll be probably more later on, but they actually woke up. They woke up for this.
I'm glad. Welcome. Good morning.
Yeah. Everyone. So for those of you who have not gotten Traffic Secrets, this is the new book by Russell. Once again, right? How to get a ton of traffic. How to get a ton of traffic for your website or funnels, and you can get it through in the link in either in the description or in the comments. All right, it's right there, and you can get a free copy. You just have to cover the shipping.
Yep, and we're shipping all around the world, so it doesn't matter where you're at. We will make sure you get a copy of this book. We start shipping on May 5th. This is kind of pre-launch, so you guys can get it now. And if you like it, we also in the upsell, there's an upgrade where you can get the audiobooks. If you want to listen to it today, you can start listening to it right away. So I appreciate you letting me talk to your audience and let more people know about our new book, man. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for coming on.
No worries.